And there's our first view of the Soyuz. Just about a minute until touchdown. Everything looking good.
Высота, Леонидович. 300 метров с ее объект проходит.
300 meters right now.
300 meters.
Сопровождаю пока.
There's a Russian Mi-8 helicopter. That will be one of the first helos to land after the Soyuz touches down. Just a moment or two before touchdown, the soft landing thrusters will fire to further reduce the impact. Standing by for touchdown. And touchdown. Soyuz MS-26 is home at 8:20 p.m. Central Time, 6:20 a.m. Kazakhstan time on Sunday morning. Don Pettit ends his 7-month mission on his 70th birthday.
It's on the ground, on the side.
Заходи первый, я на повтор. Понял. А где крышка, кто видит?
This is Mission Control Houston. The Russian Mi-8 helicopters that you see flying over the landing site of the Soyuz will now begin to land in a rapid fire sequential fashion. And the television truck that's providing the video that you're looking at will begin to move toward the vehicle. So we will lose video for a short period of time until that truck has repositioned itself near the Soyuz capsule. Once again, landing occurring at 8:20 p.m. Central Time, 6:20 a.m. Kazakhstan time on Easter Sunday. Pettit, Ovchinin, and Vagner are back on Earth after 220 days in space and a mission of 93.3 million statute miles. As you can see, the Russian Mi-8 helicopters are beginning to land, as is the plan. The first personnel will be from RSC Energia, working in tandem with the Rosaviatsa search and recovery forces to begin to approach the vehicle, making sure it is safe, free of toxic gas emissions, before they begin the process of extracting the crew. We'll also find out here shortly whether the vehicle landed upright or was pulled on its side.
Go back to your original position.
So the record books now reflect Don Pettit having accrued 590 days in space on 4 space flights. Alexey Ovchinin, 595 days in space, and Ivan Vagner, 416 days. And the reports from the search and recovery forces now confirm that the Soyuz landed and was pulled onto its side by winds at the landing site that often will pull the parachutes and thus result in the Soyuz moving from an upright position to landing on its side. So the Soyuz is on its side. That will not be an impediment to extracting the crew. It's just a different technique that will be used out of a different hatch to remove the 3 crew members.
Космос 047-44, 25 минута, самолет на Kazakhstan. Надо заправку. Марка, продублируйте, пожалуйста. 704, 25 минута, взлет на Kazakhstan, надо заправку. 704, космос, прием. Прием. Выключился. Первый выключился. Прямо за аппаратом выходи.
This is Mission Control Houston. Once again, you're looking at the front screen at the Russian Mission Control Center in Korolyov outside Moscow, and the graphic on their center screen with the words, Есть посадка, they've landed, as they did at 8:20 p.m. Central Time, 9:20 p.m. Eastern Time, 6:20 a.m. Kazakhstan time on Sunday morning on Don Pettit's 70th birthday. This is Mission Control Houston. As we mentioned a moment or two ago, the video from the landing site deconfigured for the moment while the television truck belonging to the search and recovery forces moves toward the capsule. The Soyuz MS-26 landing and being pulled over onto its side. That was confirmed by the Rosaviatsa recovery team. Landing occurring at 8:20 p.m. Central Time, 9:20 p.m. Eastern, 6:20 a.m. Kazakhstan time. All of the deorbit events went as planned from the time of undocking that occurred at 4:57 p.m. Central Time, through the deorbit burn, through all of the entry activities, the module separation, in which the three sections of the Soyuz separated from each other pyrotechnically, the descent through the atmosphere, the parachute deployment sequence, that all went by the book, resulting in a touchdown just about 56 minutes after sunrise on Sunday morning at the landing site in Kazakhstan, some 91 miles to the southeast of Zhezkazgan. The Russian Mi-8 helicopters have descended. They're all on the ground now, as they will begin to make their way toward the spacecraft to ensure that it is safe before other personnel approach the vehicle to begin the extraction of the crew. The process now, once the crew is extracted from the spacecraft, will include them being placed in 3 chairs alongside the capsule. They'll have a few moments to begin to reacquire their equilibrium following 220 days of weightlessness. Once they are hauled in those chairs into the nearby inflatable medical tent, they'll be helped out of their Sokol launch and entry suits into more comfortable flight clothing, and then brought to 3 separate helicopters to be flown back to Karaganda, Kazakhstan. That's the staging city. That's about a 2-hour, 15-minute helo ride. Once they touch down at the Karaganda airport, Don Pettit will make his way towards the NASA plane that's awaiting on the tarmac. They'll be flown back to the Johnson Space Center in Houston with other NASA personnel. Alexey Ovchinin and Ivan Vagner will board a Gagarin Cosmonaut Training Center aircraft to be flown back to Star City, Russia, which is their training base and where they have residence. While the Soyuz MS-26 mission has come to a conclusion, work on board the International Space Station is continuing at a very rapid pace. Early Monday morning is the scheduled launch of the SpaceX CRS-32 cargo mission, the Dragon that will launch atop a Falcon 9 rocket carrying some 7,000 pounds of supplies to the International Space Station. NASA Plus coverage is scheduled to begin at 3:55 a.m. Eastern Time on Monday morning in the wee hours for a launch at 4:15 a.m. Eastern Time. That will set off about a 28-hour rendezvous sequence, culminating with a docking to the International Space Station's Harmony module Zenith port, the space-facing port, at 7 6:20 a.m. Central, 8:20 a.m. Eastern Time on Tuesday morning. Once again, a view from the field in Kazakhstan of the Russian Mi-8 helicopters that have landed in a circular pattern around the Soyuz MS-26 spacecraft. Following the arrival of the SpaceX CRS-32 cargo mission to the International Space Station, this coming Thursday, April 24th at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, we will hold a spacewalk preview briefing at the Johnson Space Center, looking towards a spacewalk, US EVA as it's called, 93, that is targeted for May 1st by NASA astronauts Anne McClain and Nicole Ayers to build up a mounting bracket upon which the next series of ISS rollout solar arrays will be delivered on a future flight. They will also move a communications antenna to a different location on the space station to provide more favorable visiting vehicle communications for upcoming missions that will include the launch of the Japanese H2 transfer vehicle, its new version called the HTV-X. This is Mission Control Houston. Again, this live view from the landing site, about 91 miles to the southeast of Zhezkazgan, Kazakhstan. You can see on the right side of your screen, amidst the Russian Mi-8 helicopters that have all landed now in the vicinity of the Soyuz MS-26 spacecraft, you see that orange structure there. That's the inflatable medical tent that the crew will be brought into. And now we're getting video of the landing site. There's Alexey Ovchinin, the Soyuz commander, who has been brought out of the vehicle, first out. 595 days in space on his 4 missions. Once again, a look at Alexey Ovchinin, the veteran cosmonaut, Soyuz commander. He was the station commander up until Friday for Expedition 72 before handing over that task to Takoya Onishi, the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency astronaut. There's a view of Bill Ingalls, the NASA chief photographer, who's right at the hatchway of the Soyuz vehicle.
Stand by and let me take a look.
Сейчас проверь, есть шум.
As the search and recovery teams work to extract the other 2 crew members, a good view of Alexey Ovchinin, the Soyuz commander. As mentioned earlier, touchdown occurring at 8:20 p.m. Central Time, 9:20 p.m. Eastern Time. Soyuz vehicle was pulled over onto its side after touchdown, which is not uncommon.
Чуть-чуть ближе удар.
Slightly closer, please.
Наверное, золотое. Давай, я...
On Easter Sunday in Kazakhstan, Alexey Ovchinin peeling a hard-boiled egg.
Вторая в эфире.
And Don Pettit now being extracted.
Тань.
Under overcast skies, the temperatures at the landing site in the high 40s Fahrenheit. Alexey Ovchinin eating a hard-boiled egg presented to him by the search and recovery forces. This is Mission Control Houston. Once again, Ovchinin and Don Pettit of NASA are out of the Soyuz vehicle. Ivan Vagner is the last that is in the process of being extracted. Continuing to receive live television from the Soyuz landing site, Alexey Ovchinin and Don Pettit out of the Soyuz vehicle. Ivan Vagner in the process of being extracted.
Lower, please.
And Ivan Vagner now out, being placed in his chair. All three crew members out of the Soyuz.
Okay, what are your emotions? What are you feeling now that you're back on Earth? It's Easter, the 20th of April, inaudible.
Сейчас все это... Давай я. Отойди в сторону.
Move to the side, please.
Назад.
And back.
Ivan Vagner having wrapped up his second mission in space, 416 days in all.
Степаныч, немножко в сторону уйдите.
To the side.
Ушел. Его увезли уже, унесли. Его уже унесли, да.
He's out of here.
Да. Его сказали не снимать.
He's been taken care of.
Когда-то не говорит, не доехали.
Еще.
This is Mission Control Houston. The video again coming to you from the landing site in Kazakhstan, some 91 miles to the southeast of Kazakhstan. A bullseye landing for the Soyuz MS-26 on Easter Sunday, Don Pettit's 70th birthday, bringing to an end Pettit, Ovchinin, and Vagner's 220-day mission aboard the International Space Station. All of the entry and landing events occurred on time and on schedule, with touchdown occurring at 8:20 p.m. Central Time, 6:20 a.m. Kazakhstan time on Sunday morning, about 56 minutes after sunrise.
Алексей Николаевич, похожий. Лёш.
Thank you so very much.
The crew displaying nesting or matryoshka dolls. This is typical of all Soyuz landings, gifts to the crew members from the search and recovery teams. And first to be carried toward the medical tent is the Soyuz commander, Alexey Ovchinin. Once inside the medical tent, the three crew members will be helped out of their Sokol launch and entry suits. They'll move into more comfortable flight clothing and will subsequently board helicopters to be flown back to the staging city of Karaganda, Kazakhstan.
One is live.
Ivan Vagner taking a few sips of hot tea.
Если доктора, как скажут, по команде, да, он готов будет работать.
Вова. Ты сейчас будешь там продолжать? Да.
Сейчас, 2 секунды. Сейчас, 2 секунды.
Ivan Vagner now being lifted and will be moved toward the medical tent to join Ovchinin.
Мы же не американцы.
Ну да.
Сейчас. Что, убираете вы? Да, конечно. Все это.
Wrapping up? Oh, yeah.
Ivan Vagner being brought into the inflatable medical tent. Don Pettit was brought into the medical tent a short time ago, joining Alexey Ovchinin. So all 3 crew members now have moved into the inflatable medical tent to get out of the Sokol launch and entry suits and move into flight clothing prior to being flown by helicopter back to the staging city of Karaganda, Kazakhstan. Once in Karaganda, Pettit will board a NASA plane to be flown back to Houston, while Ovchinin and Vagner are flown on a Gagarin Cosmonaut Training Center aircraft to Star City, Russia, their training base and home outside of Moscow. This is Mission Control Houston, a view here inside the International Space Station Flight Control Room at the Johnson Space Center at Mission Control. The mission of Soyuz MS-26 has come to an end with the on-time successful landing of Don Pettit, Alexey Ovchinin, and Ivan Vagner, all 3 crew members extracted from Soyuz, all 3 crew members inside the medical tent at the landing site, landing occurring at 8:20 p.m. Central Time, 6:20 a.m. Kazakhstan time on Sunday morning, wrapping up a 220-day mission that spanned 93.3 million statute miles. With the 3 crew members out of Soyuz and in the medical tent, they'll be flown back by helicopter a short time from now to the staging city of Karaganda, Kazakhstan, where they will split up. Don Pettit moving into a NASA plane to be flown back to Houston, while Ovchinin and Vagner are flown back to their training base in the Gagarin Cosmonaut Training Center aircraft to Star City, Russia. So that will wrap up our coverage for today. All of the events from hatch closure to undocking to the deorbit burn, all of the entry events having concluded successfully, bringing home Pettit, Ovchinin, and Vagner, and bringing to an end their 220-day mission in space and aboard the International Space Station. So with that, we will now look forward to the next activity on the station, that being the launch in the wee hours Monday morning of the SpaceX CRS-32 cargo craft atop a Falcon 9 rocket, scheduled for launch at 4:15 a.m. Eastern Time on Monday morning. NASA Plus coverage to begin at 3:55 a.m. Eastern Time. That will begin about a 28-hour rendezvous toward the station, with docking scheduled on Tuesday, April 22nd, with our rendezvous and docking coverage to begin at 6:45 a.m. Eastern Time, culminating with a docking to the Harmony module of the International Space Station at 8:20 a.m. Eastern Time. So with that, we'll conclude our coverage for the day. Thank you for joining us throughout the course of the day. Soyuz MS-26 and its 3 crew members safely back on Earth. This is Mission Control Houston.